the kind of leadership that offers these new navigation possibilities is driven by a new set of principles. So they are what I described in this book, Dare to Unlead. And before I go a bit further in this explanation, let's define what leadership is exactly, right? When we speak about new leadership, what is it? I'd like to start with this definition by Martin Schemmers, professor of psychology at the University of California. Martin Schemmers says that leadership is a process of social influence in which one person is able to enlist the aid and support of others in the accomplishment of a common task. So when we speak about leadership that needs to change, we're not talking about the behaviors of some upper people up there, people that we call leaders. We're talking about ourselves in relation to each other at work, right? And this process is being disrupted by a number of factors. I will not go through all of them, but you all are aware of that. There's an individuation of needs, societal tensions, a changing relationship to authority. It is harder to engage and direct collectives. It is much harder, but it also offers opportunities. For example, maybe this means the end of command and control, top-down, heroic leadership, which does not serve us anymore. Maybe this is the end of silos, of rigid and sequential work. There are new forms that are much more effective in our complex world. The stars. Celestial navigation using the stars is still taught in the Navy, even though we have GPS and other sophisticated instruments. The stars are not just useful when there's some kind of electronic problems, but they're also important, valuable landmarks in areas of low coverage. So let me offer you 3 shining stars that have served me very well and that may help with your navigation. They may help enrich your navigation. They are called Emancipate, Connect, and Mobilize. Emancipate means, or it invites us to instill greater agency in the system, starting with self-emancipation. In the past, as a leader, you could expect that people would follow your lead. All right? It was the leader-follower model. Now, you win if you distribute leadership. If everyone around you is a leader too, with you and together. All right? And the word agency is a word I will come back on in a minute. Connect is the star that invites us to relentlessly connect the system to more of itself, to its own diversity, in order to increase its capacity to evolve. So break silos, go over them. And Mobilize invites us to create chosen togetherness, willful togetherness, at scale, with purpose-led collective action. Agency, I mentioned this word. Agency means when everybody feels an agent of change, when everybody is in action. The patients, but also our colleagues, our people reporting to us, etc. It's when agency is distributed, when people self-empower instead of waiting for your instructions. And agency is made of 3 things. The ability to act, that's the ideas, the training, the knowledge. The capacity to act, that's the support network, basically, and the willingness to act. None of that can be imposed. You cannot impose agency. You can only create the conditions for agency to emerge. And when you work, really hard, that's what a lot of companies do. We work really hard on training, knowledge. Well, this is only a part of the issue, a part of the agency element. We need to work on everything else as well, right? The second, and how do we do that? Well, we reclaim our empowered selves, starting with ourselves. So instead of fostering, continuing, perpetuating an obsolete system based on parent-child relationships, for example, or excessive control, etc., we emancipate ourselves. We look at ourselves seriously. What am I perpetuating from an obsolete system, and what can I change? And for others, it's about enabling them, creating the conditions for them to feel able and capable of action. Now, the second star invites us to connect at scale in multiple ways, because the relationship is the work. The relationship is not just what makes work nicer, or the relationship, especially in our knowledge economy, is the work, right? That's Esko Kilpi, a Finnish thinker who had beautiful words about that, who passed away a few years ago. But I think he nails it. The relationship is the work. And even leadership is a relationship. It's not a status. And for this, what do we use? Well, we use networks. And we network as much as possible. So how can we use digital networks more in our work? How can we connect and work as a network instead of working as a pyramid, or as a silo? And Mobilize, this star invites us to create a sense of we believe in something together and we act for it. This is the mobilization part, where people want to be in action. They don't feel forced to. You create this sort of activist mindset. You foster togetherness through action. And instead of having people rowing against each other, I reassure you this is not a real picture, this is photoshopped, of course, but instead of that, you have people rowing together. You invite the tribe, you invite everybody in this thing, because it's collective intelligence that will bring us to uncharted territories. So how do you open up your work to community engagement? How do you contribute to willful togetherness? So unleadership, why did I call that unleadership? Just a quick word about that. To me, leadership is not a set of individual competencies that should be individually developed. Leadership is a collective capacity. It's a collective capacity that emerges from our ability to connect across our diversity. And it emerges in our ecosystem thanks to this rich, dense, networked social fabric. And this is made possible by the choices we make every day, wherever we are. We don't have to be at the top of a pyramid or at the top of a department or whatever. Any of our choice contributes to creating this rich, lively, dynamic social fabric. In my book,